Alright, this is lesson 2 in our Google Apps Basics class. We're going to be talking about our Google Drive this time. Last time we showed you how to log in and get started. Just to recap though, when you're on a blank tab in your browser, you'll have your little launcher icon, Rubik's Cube here, where you'll see the different apps, and Google Drive is the one you want right here. Don't use this icon up here. That's saved to Google Drive. It lets you save images and pictures of your web pages directly to your Google Drive. Okay? Make sure you're logged in with your Shen Schools account up here. Okay? And then click on the launcher and click on Drive to go to your Drive. Alright, so again, the attached slide presentation is going to step you through most of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to basically do the different parts of the drive and what's in them. We'll save Share With Me for a different lesson. How to create and manage files and folders, how to check out the activity on a file or folder, and this is really useful, especially with shared files, to see what other people are doing, and then how to transfer stuff from your existing computer, your network F drive, G drive, S drive, over into your Google Drive. Alright, so we're going to start with the different parts of the drive. Over here on the left is your menu of the different parts of your drive. We'll start with the trash, because it's pretty quick and easy to talk about. Unlike Outlook and the other Shen tools that you're provided with, the trash in your Google Drive has unlimited storage space. So the best way to look at your trash is that for 30 days, once you delete something, it'll stay in your trash before it's then deleted forever. So at any point, you can then go into your trash and right-click on a file and click Restore to put it back into your Google Drive. When you restore a file, it automatically goes wherever it was deleted from, so you don't even have to remember or reorganize it. It should go back to where it was deleted from. Okay? And so your trash stays for 30 days. Once you put something in it, Google automatically empties things that are older than 30 days, so you don't have to worry about maintaining that. There's no need to use the delete forever. So it goes in your trash for 30 days, and you have a chance to restore it up until then. The starred tab over here is perhaps the most useful. People tend to think of these tabs as folders, but they're really not. They're collections of links to resources that you have scattered about between your drive and that other people have shared with you. The starred one is really useful because if it's something that's shared with you and you don't want to permanently put it into your drive, you can just star it and it will temporarily appear in this list here while staying in your Share With Me. It's also useful if there's things in your drive that you use over and over again that are buried several folders deep to keep them quickly here. So what I use my starred for is projects that I'm currently working on or things that I'm presenting in the near future. You can see my online resources class is right here because I'm working on putting these videos together for you for the online class. So I keep that folder handy. Once I'm done with a folder, I simply right-click it and remove star. To get something in the starred folder from my drive or Share With Me, you simply right-click on it and choose Add Star. So it's that simple to put things in your starred list. So this is really, really useful because it means you don't have to go searching through all of these folders to find a location that you want. So I had to do 4 clicks to get to GAF Online Resources rather than just the 1 click of going to starred. So it keeps things handy and neat for you. Recent is less useful for me than it is for a lot of other people. If you are having a lot of automated tasks run through add-ons, like I have these certificates for everybody who signs in here at the SIL created in my account as part of an automatic process, my recent folder becomes less useful because you can see a lot of the things in my folder are those certificates. So anybody who does any type of mail merging through automated forms process, this won't work real well for you. But if not, it'll show you that the things that you most recently used are open. Okay. Google Photos, not going to spend any time talking about right now, but it's a collection of photos from posts that you put in Google Plus or images that you save into your Google Photos album. And that'll be a whole different lesson on a whole different time. Okay, so you can see mine has mostly screen captures to help you with things like what we're doing now. All right, Shared With Me, we're going to save for another time, so back up here to my drive. So my drive is the main part of your Google Drive where you can create folders and files and organize them. To create a folder, it's simply a matter of right-clicking and choosing New Folder. You could also make sure that you know which folder you're in and click New Folder. really important to remember where you are, because when you right-click or when you click the New button and click New Folder, that's where it's going to create it. So we'll call this Practice. Okay. So now that Practice folder will be created in here. If I want to create a subfolder of Practice that says More Practice, the way I do that is either by right-clicking on the Practice folder and choosing New Folder, or opening the Practice folder so my path up here shows me where I am, and then clicking New Folder. You also can click on this little arrow here and say, put a new folder inside Practice. There are multiple ways of going about doing it. But the important thing to remember about Google is that it's different than Office in that you want to be in the folder that you want to create something in. In Office, it works backwards to Google Apps. In Office, you create the document and then decide where you're going to put it. In Google, you decide where you're going to put it, then create the document. That's mainly because there is no save feature in Google. It automatically saves stuff for you. So if I want to create a document in my More Practice folder, I open it up so you can see I'm in my Practice, More Practice folder. And I click New, Google Doc. Or I right-click and choose Google Doc. Okay? So that'll open up the document. Just going to give it a title real quick. Let's stick with our practice theme. All right, and I'm not going to spend any time in this Google Drive lesson talking to you about docs, slides, or sheets because they're so similar to their Microsoft Analog, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Okay, there are features that are missing in the Google ones because they are collaborative and online. Okay, the only thing I want to point out to you is when you're in a document, your sharing button is up here, and that's true in all three of them. And then once you've shared it, the link that you can send people to access it is always up here in your address bar. Because every folder, every doc, every slideshow you create in your Drive is a web page. That web page address is always up here at the top. Okay? So back over here in our Drive, you can now see that we have that practice document right where we wanted it. So in terms of creating documents in folders, that's the way to do it. Okay? Now you can drag and drop it to move it from one folder to another. So now I took it out of my More Practice, which I spelled wrong on both cases, and put it up here in this one. Okay? So if you want to delete a file or folder, when you're looking at it, you can simply right-click on it and choose Remove, or if you left-click on it and hit the Delete key on your keyboard, it will remove that file to the trash. Okay? You may notice that some of my files, especially my main folder, are color-coded. Okay, and then it has the little share icon. The little person indicates that it's a shared folder. Okay, I share all of my stuff with my personal account, so they're all shared folders. But, if you wanted to color code a folder, all you have to do is right-click on it, choose Change Color, and pick a color down here. And that's how you can color code them. I use the same color for multiple folders when they're a similar type. These are all folders that are created by outside add-ons to my Google Drive. So I put them all in that vanilla folder color. Okay? So what color you choose for your folders is up to you. You can have the same color for multiple folders. In your Google Drive, when you have a Google Sheet or a Google Doc, and you want to take it with you somewhere else, because you don't want to keep it in Google for whatever reason, you want to send it to somebody in Outlook, I don't know why you would do it, but if you were leaving Shen, for instance, and you wanted to take one of these files with you and you didn't need everything else, you can simply right-click on the file and choose Download. When you download a file from your Google Drive, you'll see it converts it to the Microsoft equivalent. So in this case, it took a Google Sheet, converted it to an Excel, and then it downloaded it to my computer, which you could then put on a flash drive and take with you. If you want to take everything in your Google Drive, whole separate procedure, and that's a video on my YouTube channel, and it's called Using Google Takeout. So if you need to pack up everything and take it with you because you're leaving Shen, retiring, going to a different school district, what have you, or student graduating, you can pack up your whole entire drive. It's called Google Takeout, videos on my YouTube channel. All right. So back over here to our slide presentation, we covered Star, we covered Recent, we covered Trash. Okay. We talked about how you create a folder or how you create a doc, a sheet, or a slideshow, making sure that you put that in the folder that you want it to be in. Okay. We told you how to create subfolders. All right, and then we talked about how you download a file. We didn't talk about renaming it or moving it. That's simply done by right-clicking on it and then choosing that option from the screen. So there are a lot of other options in that right-click menu we haven't talked about. Okay. this is really super important. It's the activity detail. You may not notice a little eye up here in your corner. It hides a pane on the side of your Google Drive that gives you details. If I then click on a folder, so let's go into let's look at the Human Resources folder. You can see that this is a shared folder that I share with several people in Human Resources. And when I click on it, I have a choice of details, which says I own the folder, and then activity, where it shows you who's done stuff in the folder. You can see that Ashley Pizzuti's done stuff in the folder because it's the folder we use for the subsystem for the high school and middle school. So any folder that I click on, I can see the details for that folder. If I go into the folder and I click on a particular document within that folder, I can then see who's used that particular document. So the details and activity pane are really useful for you to track what's being done in the folder that has shared resources now. Okay? So make sure you use that feature to your advantage. In fact, I always leave this pane open in my Google Drive so that when I click on a file here, it comes up here. Some people use this list view in their drive because they want to see who last modified it and who owned it. I think it's real hard to identify things in this list view because all the icons look the same. When you're in the grid view here, your icons appear for folders as rectangles, and then it shows you a thumbnail for the actual files. And then you have the details over here rather than on the same line. So that's the view I prefer, but that's up to you. Okay? And then now how do we move stuff over into our Google Drive? Okay, moving things into your Google Drive is fairly easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this partial screen, and I'm going to click and hold on my title bar here and move it to the right so that it's half screen. I'm going to come down here, I'm going to open up my F drive, and I'm going to move it to the left so it's on the left side of the screen. To move a file over into my Google Drive, all I simply do, and I'm going to put it in my main folder here, is take that document, click and hold down on the mouse button, drag it over here, and drop it. That moves the file. You can move a whole folder too if you want. Notice that when I moved that file, it stayed in a Word format. That's the default setting on Google Apps. Sorry about the call. Over here, however, you have a gear, and you can go into settings, and you can say automatically convert things when I upload them. So now what happens, if I drag that same document and drop it over here in my drive, is Google will upload it, but it will also convert it to the Google Docs format versus the Word format. That's important because when something is in the Word format, it's really not editable easily in Google Apps, whereas when it's in the Google Docs format, it opens it up in editing mode where you can make changes to that doc. It's also much, much better to share documents with students via Classroom if they're in the native Google format, because then you can easily put comments on them and hand them back to them. When you hand them a Word file and they make a copy of it, add changes to it, turn it into you put comments on it, it becomes a separate copy, doesn't work out. Okay, so it's almost always better to make sure that you have the things you want to use in a Google Docs format. The conversion isn't 100% right now, but it's pretty good, 90-95%. Depends on what you're trying to convert and what you're trying to do. But if you upload a Word, PowerPoint, or Excel file, it will convert it to the Google equivalent, a Docs, a Sheets, or a slide presentation. All right, so that's your introduction to the Google Drive. We're going to stop lesson 2 now, and you can move on to lesson 3. Don't forget to mark your video as done in Google Classroom.